Thank you everyone so much for joining us today for the National Environmental Public Health Internship Program informational session for environmental public health programs. On behalf of the National Environmental Health Association, I want to say thank you, and we're excited that you would like to learn more about the program and the possibility of becoming a NEPHIP host site for future interns. Just a quick note, if you are a student, you're welcome to stay on with us today, but please note that this information will be specific to host sites for the NEPHIP program. So really quickly, just want to do some introductions. My name is Adrienne Gothard. I'm a program analyst for NEHA, and I have been working with the NEPHIP internship program for the past couple years. I'm joined today by my colleague Jennifer Wells, who is a project coordinator for NEHA, and she has been with us since the beginning of this year. We also have the support of great NEHA leadership, and specifically Chris Walker, who is the senior program analyst overseeing the NEPHIP project. So today we're just going to share some specifics about the NEPHIP program, the application for summer 2025, and the timelines. But please know that you can email us at any time at nephip@neha.org. So before we jump into information about the NEPHIP program specifically, I wanted to provide a brief introduction to the National Environmental Health Association, or NEHA, if you aren't familiar. So NEHA is a professional society with more than 7,000 members across the nation. Our mission is to build, sustain, and empower an effective environmental health workforce. And if we achieve our mission of building, sustaining, and empowering an effective environmental health workforce, what we will have is healthy environments, meaning that we're addressing the health impacts caused by environmental health hazards, protected communities, meaning that we're identifying the stakeholders that are familiar with the challenges of communities and working with them to solve the challenges, and empowered professionals, meaning that we have a diverse group of educated and experienced professionals in the workforce. So we have two really important partners for our NEPHIP project. The first is our funding entity and primary partner, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention's Water, Food, and Environmental Health Services branch. Our other partner is the National Environmental Health Science and Protection Accreditation Council, or EHAC. So NEPHIP is offered exclusively to students who are enrolled in environmental health programs that are accredited through EHAC. And then, of course, NEHA, we have been facilitating this program since 2015, and so far have supported 280 internship experiences across 147 environmental public health agencies in 39 states and territories. And now I'm going to pass it over to Jennifer to discuss some of the specifics of the program.
Right. So NEPHIP is a 400-hour paid internship that places environmental health students with host sites at state, tribal, local, and territorial environmental public health agencies, where students are exposed to the career opportunities, benefits, and challenges of working with environmental public health agencies throughout the United States. As part of the program, we recruit qualified environmental health students who are really eager to gain field experience, as well as environmental health programs that are interested in hosting those environmental health interns. We then match them based on a variety of factors, including students' experience and interests, and the program's potential independent projects. Additionally, we prioritize diversity and geographic representation in the selection process for students and environmental health programs. So the core aim of NEPHIP is to strengthen the environmental health workforce by bolstering the incoming professionals with real-world experience at a governmental environmental public health agency. So NEPHIP encourages interns to consider careers at these state, tribal, local, or territorial environmental health agencies after graduation. Creating this path for the next generation is critical, knowing there will be large numbers of environmental health professionals planning to retire in the coming years. So in a survey of former NEPHIP interns, more than half said they were more likely to pursue a career in environmental health after participating in NEPHIP. So really, this practical hands-on internship will result in graduates that are well prepared to immediately enter the workforce or continue their academic journeys. And of course, your participation helps build a qualified applicant pathway to governmental environmental health programs. So participating host sites with NEPHIP are offered a support package valued up to $1,500 per intern to help reimburse for those intern-related costs. Some examples of things that hosts have used this support package for in the past include a laptop or desktop computer for the intern, an iPad to assist in inspections, training and educational resources for the intern, and those software charges like Zoom or GIS licenses. So this support package can really be used for a lot of different things, but it has to be related to those intern related costs. We also provide administrative support from NEHA staff during the internship. And NEPHIP supports summer, spring, and fall sessions in remote, hybrid, or in-person internship formats. This allows for flexibility for both students and the host sites. So interns will be undergraduate or graduate students from environmental health programs accredited by EHAC, just like Adrian mentioned. EHAC accreditation requires a firm educational foundation in the natural sciences, biology, chemistry, physics, geology. So all of our interns have a really great foundation in those areas. Interns receive $6,000 for undergraduate students and $8,000 for graduate students to complete the 400-hour internship. And these funds will be provided by NEHA to the interns through generous funding from the CDC. And we facilitate these payments so no funds have to pass through your department. So I will pass it back to Adrian to talk a little bit more about hosting for NEPHIP.
Thanks, Jennifer. So to be considered as a host as part of the NEPHIP internship program, the environmental health program should be able to meet the following criteria. So one, having the ability to assist the student in identifying and completing an independent project that focuses on solving a current environmental health problem or challenge that's facing your jurisdiction. We'll talk a little bit more about the independent projects on the next slide. The second requirement is being able to provide opportunities for student interns to be exposed to various programs, activities, and services that are operated by your department and program. So for example, can they go shadow with inspectors, or will they be able to have informational meetings with other environmental health departments? So really the goal here is to have a well-rounded experience that results in the students' understanding of the important work that environmental public health programs and environmental public health professionals do. And third, we ask that a primary mentor is assigned to the intern, and they will be available to assist in mentoring and advising the student intern on their independent project, meet on a routine basis throughout the internship period. While we realize that there will likely be many individuals involved in mentoring the intern during their time with your program, we ask that there's kind of that one primary mentor who will be the individual that we will coordinate with throughout the internship. So for the independent project, project topics can really vary across all environmental health services and topic areas. So when you're thinking about independent project ideas, we encourage environmental public health programs to consider any environmental health problem or challenge that is faced by the jurisdiction and how an intern could help to address these challenges. So this project can help departments reinvigorate projects or programs that may have been impacted by competing priorities, as well as it may be used by the intern to meet their university internship requirements or bolster their portfolios and resumes. With the project, we do ask that hosts and interns consider the impact of climate change on environmental health topics, and that they also identify environmental justice and health equity concerns as they relate to the project. So the goal here is really to get the interns to evaluate the public health challenges through these lenses, which is something that they can hopefully take with them into their careers in environmental public health. Along with the independent project, we also require the intern to produce a deliverable that's associated with their project. So this is really the natural output of the project. So what are you going to be asking them to create to leave with you at the end of the internship? Is it a report of their findings, their research findings? Is it a presentation with their recommendation? Is it training materials that they've created during their time with you? Things like that. We will also ask the interns to submit a copy of the deliverable or deliverables to NEHA at the end of the internship as well, so that we can see what they have created during their time with you. And as I mentioned earlier, the projects can really vary across all environmental public health services. So I want to provide some examples just to get those ideas flowing. So in the past, we've had a lot of interns complete food safety projects, as we know that this is a big environmental public health area for a lot of state and local departments. And so this could be things such as a risk factor study for the FDA retail food program standards. We've also had an intern complete research projects comparing enteric disease cases with socioeconomic factors in different communities within the jurisdiction. And the deliverable for that project that I just mentioned was the creation of GIS maps and a presentation to the staff about the findings of their research and their recommendations. For emergency preparedness, an example of an emergency preparedness project was to create an evaluation for emergency medical needs shelters in South Carolina. So the intern designed a strategic evaluation system for shelter sites with respect to both health equity and shelter operational factors. So his project deliverables were the evaluation tool itself, as well as a report that outlined detailed instructions for the use of the tool that he created. Vector control, we've had a project where an intern tracked tick and mosquito populations and compared them to previous years. Another intern completed an assessment for the county to determine how native mosquito vectors are evolving and moving due to climate change. We've also seen a lot of great water quality projects. One such project was to create a policy brief to advise how the program could increase communication and water advisory awareness to a neighborhood in close proximity to a major lake. And the water project investigated and compared PFAS species detected in lake surface water and foam samples. And this project resulted in a report and some graphics and figures to communicate the findings with residents. For community education, we've seen a lot of great projects that assisted programs in updating the agency's environmental health web pages with updated information, accessible language, and even translating materials to other languages. And another project had the intern create workbooks and coloring books to start teaching elementary age students and children about environmental health topics like septic systems and food safety. And we've also seen a lot of really great newsletters and flyers that have been created for things like food safety and swim beach advisories in the summer months. So hopefully these some of these examples help to spark ideas of how an intern could help within your jurisdiction and your communities. And I now want to quickly highlight a recent success story. So one of our summer 2023 in-person interns was matched with the Cerro Gordo Department of Public Health in Mason City, Iowa. Her independent research project was with the emergency preparedness team. So she was working to identify vulnerable populations within the county in order to address their specific needs during and after a natural or man-made disaster. And this work included evaluating their access to vital public health services, And for her deliverable, she did research and collected data, identified gaps in services, created GIS maps. So all of the work that she did will go into creating an emergency preparedness plan for the county. And so here you'll see a picture from the presentation that she did with her findings. She did a presentation to program staff as well as one of the maps that she created using the Social Vulnerability Index. And in addition to her independent project, the county's environmental health team was able to provide her with an abundance of experiences in environmental health. So here you'll see some photos from pool inspections, home inspections for a rehabilitation grant, septic permitting, and then she even got to do a full-scale emergency preparedness exercise that took place at the airport in the county. In addition to that, she was also able to participate in residential radon testing, food establishment inspections, nuisance complaints, and private well testing. So I know from talking to this intern that she had a fantastic experience. She learned so much in environmental health. And I don't think I mentioned this specific intern was a student in Georgia. So she kind of took that leap of faith and moved out from Georgia to Iowa for the summer and had a really great experience. I also just wanted to share some of the feedback that we've received from recent host site mentors on the impact of this internship program. Um, so this first one on the left here talks about an intern who was actually hired on at her agency after her internship program. Because of her time during the internship, they knew um, about her values, her work ethic, and her great work on the development of their future healthy home project. And that made her one of the top candidates for the position when she applied. We've also heard host sites say that this was an opportunity for their intern to learn about what other things do environmental public health professionals do and what are the possibilities in the field. The mentor shared, I don't feel that they get a full scope in their college courses of what you can do with this degree. So this mentor was able to discuss the professional options that are available and how the intern could apply their degree to different sectors. The mentor commented that the intern was very appreciative of someone just taking the time outside of their project and outside of school to say, hey, this is what you can do with a degree in environmental health. And then that last one there is, they said that the opportunity was awesome without NEHA and the intern's presence that summer. Their division would not have been able to do West Nile virus surveillance. So the internship was a significant impact to their program and their community of 580,000 residents. And now I will pass it back to Jennifer to talk a little bit about the application process.
So you can access the NEPHIP host site application and all supplemental materials on our website. So on that application, you'll be asked several questions about your program, basic things like contact info and location. But we also ask you to briefly describe the types of opportunities available to an intern in the environmental health areas offered by your program. So for example, like would they be able to shadow pool or food inspectors, have learning opportunities with your lead or vector control programs, or maybe participate in your climate and health working group meetings, so things like that. We definitely want our interns to be exposed to multiple different areas of your environmental health work. Additionally, you'll be asked to identify potential independent projects that could be worked on by the intern that focuses on that environmental health problem or challenge, and also how these projects may be related to sustainability, climate and health, environmental justice, and health equity. So we try to be as detailed as you can because these project ideas will be shared with, a potential intern match when discussing the position at your agency. That being said, we also understand that project needs and priorities can change. and might also change as you get to know your intern and their interests and experience. Also, on the application, we ask a few questions about the desired format for the internship. So whether your independent projects can be completed remotely in a hybrid format or needs to be completely in person. So especially in summer, many of our interns relocate to their host site area for this experience. While it's ultimately their responsibility to, locate and pay for their own lodging, we encourage those interns to connect with their host site, for some tips or advice on where to find maybe more affordable housing in your area. Since you, of course, know your community the best, we really appreciate any host site that can maybe point them in the right direction. All right, so student applications will open next week for the summer 2025 session and will close on February 3rd. But we accept host site applications on a rolling basis. But we ask that you please submit your application by February 3rd if you're interested in hosting a summer intern. Um, the host site application is open right now for all the 2025 sessions. So if you have already submitted an application and selected that you were interested in a summer intern, your application is still on file and will be considered as a potential host site for summer. But if, maybe you applied a while back in the 2024 sessions, we ask that you submit a new application for the 2025 year so that we know, exactly what sessions you're interested in, and we have the most up-to-date information about your department and potential projects. So the selection and matching process will begin in February, and final notifications for the selected summer 2025 interns and host sites will be sent out by mid-March. So summer internships will be 10 consecutive weeks, starting anytime between May 5th and June 23rd, and then wrapping up by the end of August. So just a note that some of the EHAC degree programs run on quarters instead of semesters. But if you are matched with an intern from one of those schools, maybe they might not be done with classes yet until June. But even if they start in mid to late June, that will still definitely be enough time to complete the internship by the end of August. So again, this is a 400-hour internship. So during the 10 weeks, your interns will be expected to work full-time, 40 hours per week. That is, unless you decide on an alternate schedule that works for both of you. Okay, and then so as we wrap up our presentation here, just want to take a minute to talk about what host sites can expect if they are selected. So once we've shared information about your intern match with you, you'll have the chance to have an introductory meeting with them to, get to know them a little bit more, know their interests and experience, and really make sure that it seems like a good match. And then when both interns and host sites confirm their intent to participate for the summer 2025 session, at that time, host sites and interns will begin making those arrangements, such as start and end dates, work schedule, all of that. On our end, selected host sites will be asked to fill out an agreement form with NEHA. If the intern's academic institution requires any additional administrative paperwork, the intern will be connecting their academic advisor with you to help move that process along. All selected NEPHIP interns are required to undergo a background check with NEHA prior to starting the internship experience. But please make sure to inquire early with your own department about any steps you may need to take in order to host an intern. Several weeks before internships begin, we will host orientations for all participating interns and host sites to go over more details of the program. But throughout the internship, NEHA staff is available to help support interns and health agencies as needed. Before the internship starts, We provide a work plan template that can help you and your intern to identify those independent project details, deliverables, and timelines, as well as any trainings, tools, or resources needed to complete that project. We'll be sending out short check-in forms every Friday throughout the internship to both interns and mentors to help us identify if any additional support is needed. And then about halfway through the internship, we set up just a quick check-in meeting to talk about project progress and performance. And then at the very end, at the conclusion of the internship, the intern will be required to give a short presentation to NEHA staff about their experience, to highlight their independent project outcomes, and of course share what they learned along the way. And host site mentors are definitely welcome to attend the presentation as well. So that's just kind of a big overview of what NEHA's involvement will be during the internship. So with that, really want to say thank you so much for joining us today, and we look forward to the possibility of partnering with you.
Thank you everyone for coming. Have a great day. Bye-bye.